escuchan, me escuchan, me escuchan. Un poquito más para mí, para yo escucharme a mí mismo. Un poco más, poco más, poco más. Ajá. ¿Cuánto? No tenemos esto. No tenemos esto, ¿viste?
puedo confiar mucho en esto.
Welcome to Game 2 of Day 1 of the FIBA Americas Championship 2009. 10 teams from the Americas are here for 4 available spots. The top 4 teams, the 4 teams going to the semifinals, will automatically qualify for the FIBA 2010 Championships. Good afternoon to everybody from San Juan, Puerto Rico, and the Roberto Clemente Coliseum, built in 1973 precisely to host the 74 World Basketball Championships. Alongside Coach Carlos Morales, I'm Alvaro Martin, and what a way to open up the day today. Uruguay already beat the Virgin Islands 88-62, but the second game today pits the pre-tournament powerhouses, the Dominican Republic and Brazil.
Well, you can say that this is one of the top games of the whole tournament, and it happens to be in the very first day of competition. Brazil is always a powerhouse in America and have qualified for every single World Championships before. And then the Dominican Republic, they come with a very special team this year with 3 NBA players, 1 former NBA player, a top coach in Julio Toro, a Puerto Rican who has coached the Venezuelan team and the Puerto Rican team before, and they are loaded. The Dominican Republic is a team that comes to win it all, and then on the other end, you can talk about Brazil being one of the most the better acquainted teams so far. They did very well in the preseason in all the exhibition games.
And there's a reason why both teams are armed to the teeth for this tournament, Carlos, beyond the fact that they want to qualify for the 2010 championships in Turkey. And that is, they've come off great disappointment. In the case of Brazil, they've missed the last 3 Olympics. And in the case of the Dominican Republic, Carlos, they hosted this World Basketball Championship qualifier in 2005, spent a lot of money, put a team together, and were the last team eliminated.
Right, they ended in the 6th position in that tournament. 5 teams were qualifying to the World Tournament in Japan in 2006, and the Dominican Republic was one of the teams that didn't qualify.
And part of the change there is to bring a Puerto Rican coach. And let me tell you, for islands and countries that are neighbors and rivals and natural sporting rivals, for the Dominican Republic to bring a Puerto Rican coach, or for Puerto Rico to bring a Dominican coach, it takes a big leap of faith.
It does. And right now, this is the difference. If you talk to the people at the Dominican Republic, the federation, they say that the main difference, they have always had talented players, but they're having a top-notch coach that knows international basketball and knows the basketball in this area, like Julio Toro, will make a huge difference. That's the reason why they're very optimistic that they can win the whole thing.
They think they can make it certainly to the top 4, and that would give them a pass to their second only World Basketball Championships. They did play in 1978 in the Philippines. That's 31 years ago. It's been a long time coming. The Dominican Republic will be the host in white. The Brazilians will be in blue. Carlos, Brazil, of course, came off the worst ever showing at they've played in all 15 prior World Basketball Championships. They come off their worst showing, a 17th place showing in Saitama.
And they won in 2005 the tournament in the Dominican Republic. They finished 4th in 2007 in Las Vegas.
Ready for tip-off, and Thiago Splitter takes the ball and gives it up to Huertas. Very quickly to Alex. And this is a different team, Carlos. This Brazilian team likes to do a pick and roll like here, but in the middle gets Luis Flores, who last played for the Venezuelan champion, also playing in Europe. He's a former NBA player. At the point at times here, and there's our first foul. It's an offensive foul, and I believe it is Luis Flores, indeed.
Well, Flores and Morban are gonna be switching between the point guard position and the shooting guard position. Flores is not a point guard as such. He's a good shooting guard. And Morban, although he's a good point guard, he's more athletic and he can play the 2 also. And now he fouls Leandrinho Barbosa. So that's the second team foul on the Dominican Republic already.
Referee Tacchini from Italy, now becoming a regular at these American championships. Carlos Morban is going to have a very difficult time with Leandrinho like anybody else. Pass underneath the Splitter, he misses. Villanueva with the rebound. Morvan. That is one of the great question marks for the tournament for both teams, Carlos, the point guard play.
Well, in terms of Brazil, they are pretty good in the point guard position with Huerta, but we'll see Harford taking the first shot of the game and scoring for them.
Yes, indeed, and we have 5 NBA players playing between these two teams, and a few former ones and a few future ones as well. So great talent here as well. Also playing in the top leagues in Europe and, of course, in their own home countries. Varejao. To Huertas. Huertas, very tough shot. Misses. Ooh. Varejao with the rebound and the putback.
And already the game is very physical underneath the basket. Villanueva pushing Thiago Splitter outside while Anderson Varejao was in the right place at the right time to get that offensive rebound.
It's tied at 2 now with just a few minutes elapsed at the start. And Carlos, every one of the members of the Dominican delegation told us, except for Julio Toro, who doesn't have to say it, that this will be one of the top defensive teams in the tournament. And now he stepped out of bounds with a great force out by Varejao and Splitter.
You can say that the Dominican Republic has the talent, and they certainly have the coaching, but they haven't been together for that long. I mean, they started practicing about 6 weeks ago, but they didn't have most of the players, and they didn't have Julio Toro, who was working in the finals of the Puerto Rican League.
Make that 2 and 1. Leandrinho Barbosa with a great penetration against Corban, and Corban, I believe, has his second foul.
And then flipping the coin, talking about Brazil, they have been together for a while now, and they are accustomed to coach Moncho Monsalve, who was the one that coached them last year in the qualifying tournament in Greece prior to the Olympics in Beijing. They didn't qualify for Beijing, but they did have some time to get acquainted with Moncho Monsalve.
Splitter gets the offensive rebound. Back to Leandrinho. Launches a 3 to miss. Back again in Brazilian hands, Huertas with a rebound. He sets up a play. Now, this team, Carlos, is not going to rely on the 3 unless that's the points in the paint are taken away from them. This is a team, the Brazilian team is going to work a lot more, or try to work more inside. Alex Garcia. No. Hits the backboard, and now it's the Dominican Republic's ball, and Ricardo Greer.
And that's an interesting substitution.
Comes in. That means that Flores will probably man the point.
He will have to be handling the point by himself. He was alternating with Morvan at the beginning of the game. Now they're going to play with 2 small forwards at the same time, both of whom can play also at guard. But Flores will have to be the point guard, the sole point guard, and he's not. He doesn't play that well in that position. He's a better shooting guard.
Garcia launches a 3, misses underneath. Greer gets the foul. Leandrinho Barbosa gets his first foul. And Carlos, Flores is known as a scorer. In college and beyond, of course, at Rutgers and Manhattan. But he's really not much of a point guard.
No, as I said before, I think that right now they're gonna be using Greer and Francisco Garcia getting maybe the first pass as soon as possible. As soon as Flores can get rid of the ball, he will get the ball to the wingman because he doesn't feel too comfortable handling the point. At least that has been the case in past years. He's a very good scorer, as you just said, but he's not quite a point guard to play by himself this way. Like Morvan is out of the game right now. Right now, Julio Toro has some up his sleeve.
Greer misses the shots. Brazil's up 4-2. Huertas uses the pick by Varejao. Inside, great deflection by Horford. They've got 15 seconds on that possession. Villanueva is guarding Varejao. Another pick and roll. Huertas right to the hoop. Yes, sir. Right over Horford. Great decision making by Huertas.
Trademark, the floater when he gets in the lane. Huertas is very good with that shot.
Flores manning the point. Takes a long 3-point shot and makes it.
Using the pick and roll, going one way and then coming up the second screen to get the space for that shot.
Garcia is now putting pressure on Huertas. Leandrinho pursued by Greer. Leandrinho has the speed advantage. And he takes advantage of it, of course, and scores.
Yeah, Greer is going to have a tough time trying to stay in front of Leandrinho Barbosa. It's very difficult, even for NBA players, to stay in front of him. And now they're calling an offensive foul on Al Horford.
Offensive foul on Al Horford.
Trying to gain position in the paint against Splitter.
Great pick by Horford.
Yeah, first he took a pick to the left side, and then he came back to the right side and got that pick from Horford. And took that 3-pointer, which found the bottom of the net.
The majority of the Dominican Republic team members have been together for 20 days practicing. They really only had a few warm-up games, a couple against Puerto Rico at the Dominican Republic. But I guess Julio Toro has put them through the paces. Very interesting workouts. Another strong bit of contact. And I believe Horford is getting the foul, and Horford saying it really wasn't me.
No, I
it
think
was Luis Flores.
They call it on Horford because Flores was the one that.
And now he's got two.
Yeah, they call it on Horford, and I think that the referee got that one wrong. It happened right in front of us, and it was Flores who put his elbow and forearm up to try to stop Splitter.
When we last saw him, Thiago Splitter, Carlos, at a World Championship qualifier in 2005, he was an important member of the team. The team had suffered some losses. Anderson Varejao got injured. He became a starter. He wasn't supposed to be a starter, and he showed flashes. Right now, it's a different Splitter.
Well, he's one of the top players in the world. He's not playing in the NBA, but that doesn't mean that he is not one of the best players. In Europe, he certainly is.
Alex all the way in. And Villanueva could only see him go by. And what a great tip back by Varejao to get another possession for the Brazilians.
And Alex is an interesting case because he's a left-handed player that puts the ball on the floor better to his right than to his left. He likes to dribble with his right hand and go strong to the basket.
Villanueva with his first shot, and he misses. He just signed the contract on July 8th with the Detroit Pistons for 5 years and $40 million. One of the few big signings in the offseason in the NBA, the American League. Varejao, great block by Garcia. Great help. Huerta, fake. A shot by Landriño, a miss. Garcia with the ball.
Now Francisco Garcia told Flores, keep on going. I'm going to bring this ball down court.
And there's a foul, I believe, by Splitter. There was a double team.
And the basket will not count? The foul was before the shot.
It was Splitter. And for Splitter, that's his first.
Yeah, the foul was Splitter on Villanueva. And then Horford got the pass and the dunk, but that didn't count.
But Horford was on that court, Carlos, for a couple of a minute or two, even with two fouls. Now we get Jack Michael Martinez, who used to be a starter for this team. Now he's one of the first coming off the bench. That tells you how deep this team is. Yeah,
that's how talented they are because Jack Michael was not only one of the starters, he was the star of this team.
Triple
in
team.
A few tournaments.
Flores misses. Thiago Splitter off to the races. Huertas corrals the ball. Misses. Great defense by Garcia. Flores trying a fast break, but Brazil's not allowing much. Greer, great contact. Loses the ball. It belongs to Brazil. A lot of contact there.
Yes, sir. Yes, indeed. Now, Brazil will run if they have the opportunity, and most of the time is when there's a long rebound because the opponent takes a long shot, a three-pointer, most likely, or if there's a turnover, they will try to surprise you with a fast break.
Splitter will not take the three, and there's contact down below. An offensive foul by Leandrinho Barbosa, and for Leandrinho, that is his second. So we have a couple of stalwarts here. Two of the stars of the tournament getting in early foul trouble. Brazil leads the Dominican Republic 10-5. So far, Carlos, a very, very physical game so far. And the Dominican Republic, Carlos, they wish they can fast break, but Brazil's not allowing that.
Well, right now, the Dominican Republic has been forced to play half court, and that's what Brazil wants to do with their defense. They want to force a team that wants to run to play in the half court. At the same time, Brazil, as I said before, they will try to surprise you once in a while with the fast break, especially when there's a long shot or if there's a turnover, and they try to fast break too. But now, talking about the physical game, the Dominican Republic are already in the penalty. They already committed 5 fouls. And Brazil, even though they have been as physical as the Dominican Republic so far, they have committed only 3. And most of the fouls are away from the ball when people are screening or are trying to come off the pick. There's a lot of contact away from the ball right now, and the referees are trying to clean it up a little bit.
Didn't I tell you that this is a different Brazil under Moncho Monsalve, Carlos? 10 points. All of the Brazilian points are in the paint.
Yes, sir.
They are insisting on taking the ball down low and working the clock a lot more than before.
Remember, and you were talking about that before we got here, that this team used to average 24 three-pointers taken by game.
In the 2005 qualifier.
In 2005. And right now, they are in the exhibition games, they are down to 9 three-pointers attempted per game, and that's quite a difference.
Brazil swept all 3 games of the second ever Marchand Continental Cup, which pitted Brazil, Argentina, Canada, and the host Puerto Rico. That's the second cup that's ever been celebrated, and both have been won by Brazil. There were some steps there. Offensive foul, says Tacchini, opening up with his left arm. And Tacchini is quickly putting up the fouls on the board.
Yes, sir.
And that would be his first personal foul for Charlie Villanueva. Villanueva, of course, played for the U.S. in a 2005 youth tournament in Nova Scotia.
And he applied for reinstatement as a Dominican so that he could play for the Dominican Republic, where his parents are from. He was born in the United States, and as you said, he represented the United States. But he got granted the permission to adopt the Dominican citizenship as
a first fast break, and here comes the response from Brazil. Great body control by Leandrillo Barbosa. And there's a technical foul.
No, he's warning them.
A warning.
Yeah.
Tacchini warns the Dominican bench to cool down. Easier said than done. The Dominicans mentioned to us yesterday, Carlos, that they would definitely have a big-time case of nerves at the beginning of this tournament, especially in the first quarter against Brazil.
And right now, it looks like they are in that situation. The fouls, all the complaining to the referee so early in the game.
A block by Splitter. Huertas. Quickly up ahead. Leandrinho.
They didn't run back.
My goodness. He has to be one of the quickest guards on earth. You're talking about him. You're talking about Tony Parker. There aren't many. I guess you can include Jose Juan Baré in that group.
Yeah, Baré, Chris Paul.
Chris Paul as well. Steps. Jack Michael Martinez right in front of the Brazilian bench. That's a turnover.
So right now, nothing is working for the Dominican Republic.
Now you get the bench for Dominican Republic. Kelvin Peña is on to Leandrinho Barbosa. And Ricardo Greer comes off. Peña may give him also a bit of ball handling as well. Brazil has basically, Carlos, they have not made any substitutions so far. Alley-oop. Yes, sir.
Great half-court execution. Great half-court execution by the Brazilian. They just moved the ball, were swinging the ball around until they got to the pick-and-roll situation, and Huertas just threw the alley-oop to Thiago Splitter, who finished the play.
Brazil has always had some height, Carlos. Maybe not athletic height, but always height. And now look at that three-point shot by Francisco Garcia. Alex Garcia just looked on.
Yeah, he was looking to Moncho like saying, hey, did I do something wrong there? Because he just scored over me, and I was supposedly guarding him well.
Splitter at the point. Barbosa. A switch on Peña. Explores the baseline. Huertas. Plenty of time and space. Splitter brings it down. Ball on the floor. Ooh, that elbow. My goodness. And yes, indeed.
That nice move with Splitter with that semi-hook that he uses so well.
But the elbow, Carlos, is again a sign of maturity for Splitter. He knows exactly when and how to deploy. Jack Michael Martinez, double team. Outside to Peña. Yes, sir.
Great inside-out game by the Dominican Republic. Jack Michael didn't force the issue when he saw that the double team. He waited for the rotation, and he saw his teammate Peña right at the corner, wide open.
I'm beginning to see, Carlos, the Julio Toro type offense on display here. It's beginning to come out here. And there's an elbow and a foul by Jack Michael Martinez. And the Canadian referee, Steven Seibel, doesn't want to hear about it.
And as I said before, that the audio between Huertas and Splitter a couple of plays ago. But I said before that this team, the Dominican Republic, they are trying to beat some jitters, some initial nervousness, and they are committing some fouls that you usually don't commit at the beginning of the game. Those are the type of fouls that when the game gets close at the end, you make that contact, and sometimes you can get away with that contact. But you are committing fouls early in the game. You are in the bonus early in the first quarter, and Splitter goes to the line, and he makes good on the first attempt.
Splitter, of course, will be playing in Spain for a couple more years. He's now playing for Caja Laboral Vitoria. Great rebound, great box out by Martinez. Erstwhile known as the Tau Victoria team, Garcia. Great hands by Splitter. Long pass, intercepted by Flores. Villanueva takes it away. Huertas chases all the way across to Garcia. He lines up for a long three. Yes, indeed.
There's no defense for that. He shot it almost from the sideline almost.
My, oh my. Huerta sets up the play to Barbosa. Lots of movement, Carlos, and passing for Brazil. Splitter waits in the low post. Varejao dribbles up. Splitter against Martinez. Turnaround shot.
And he didn't take the shot on time.
Not on time to Seibel. 24-second violation. And now Varejao has some words with Facchini. And now
this guy is amazing.
What happened? A warning for a technical.
Yeah, he just stopped the game to warn Varejao for the technical. He just warned almost everybody already in the first quarter of the game.
Varejao came over after the play to speak to him and say a few words, and Facchini just doesn't like that at all. Garcia, baseline. Yes, indeed, against Huerta.
Garcia.
They're feeling it. Penetration, step back, and shot.
And all of a sudden, the Dominicans are right in the game. They are losing by only 1 point, and they're back in the zone.
With 35 seconds left. Splitter, great
nice
pump
move,
fakes.
up and under.
Yes,
wow.
Indeed, an up and under. World-class up and under by Thiago Splitter gives Brazil a 3-point lead with 30 seconds to go.
As I said, this guy is not in the NBA, but he definitely belongs in the NBA. He's one of the top big guys in the world.
Clearly, the NBA would love to have him play for the San Antonio Spurs. An offensive foul to Seibel.
And that's on Villanueva setting the screen.
That's the second on Charlie Villanueva.
So Holford with 2, Villanueva with 2. The Dominican Republic having problems with their big guys.
And Jack Michael Martinez has 1. Take a look. Take a look at Francisco Garcia's shot.
This is the pick. And
the pick.
The referee says that he was moving at the moment of contact. So now Brazil will have the ball with 20 seconds in the quarter. 20 seconds left in the quarter. So that means that they don't have to take a shot until taking the last one. They don't have to give the ball back to the Dominican Republic. Let's see how they play it.
Alejandro Salas, is on the floor. The 12th man. Interesting choice by Julio Torres. His team is loaded up with fouls. And they couldn't get the shot in time, so that's the end of the first quarter. What a physical, foul-marred first quarter. 21-18. Brazil leads the Dominican Republic. Here at the Roberto Clemente Coliseum in San Juan, Puerto Rico, opening day of the 2009 FIBA Americas Championship. Carlos, the referees become a storyline here as we see the stats for the first quarter. Great shooting inside by Brazil. They're working the inside game. The Dominican Republic began to try that way, but it's actually the three-point shooting that bailed out the Dominican Republic and allowed it to get back in the game at the end of the first quarter.
Yeah, and going back to the referees doing what they have been doing is the Dominican Republic has already been called for 8 fouls in one quarter. So they are projecting 32 fouls in the game. Now, Brazil didn't score from three-point range in 5 attempts. So that means that Brazil, as you said before, they have been going inside and trying to score from inside, and the Dominican Republic are right in the game because they have been able to make the long shot.
Are you surprised in any way that Brazil did not make any substitutions in the first quarter?
I am, because they do have a couple of players that are very important coming off the bench. They have J.P. Batista inside, and they do have Marcelinho and Guilherme Giovannoni, 2 very good offensive players that can hit shot, can play defense, are very experienced internationally. So I don't know what's going on in that case, because I saw Brazil playing in the Tuto Marchand Cup, and they were using all their assets, and they do have many assets.
Brazil had Lula Ferreira as a head coach, Carlos, but they decided to bring in Moncho Monsalve, who's a well-traveled Spanish coach. He coached the great Brazilian player Oscar Schmidt for the Valladolid team in Spain. He's also coached, believe it or not, some men's national teams, youth national teams, women's national teams. He's an iconoclast, very much like Julio Toro, who's also coached the Venezuelan national team, his home country's national team, the Puerto Rican national team, for over a decade of great success, and now takes on this project with the Dominican Republic. One quick difference here, Carlos, rebounding. 11-8 in favor of the Brazilians, but more importantly, offensive rebounding. The Brazilians have a decided advantage. We're ready for the second quarter. In points in the paint, it's been 20-4 in the first quarter. And second chance points, 6-0, all in favor of Brazil. Alongside Coach Carlos Morales, I'm Alvaro Martin. Welcome again to day 1 of round 1 in this matchup of Group B teams, the so-called Group of Death. Great pass to Landrino. Excellent. Running the court, running the court very, very well, just one step ahead of the Dominicans.
And it's very important for the Dominican Republic, if they want to have a real chance of winning this game, that they start running back on defense, stopping the ball first and then running back on defense.
Wow. Palming the ball, says Facchini. Another turnover by the Dominicans. Long pass. Flitter to Varejao. No foul. He drops to the floor. Flores on the counterattack. Huertas stops him and gets the foul.
And that's a smart foul by Huertas, just trying to stop the dribble penetration when his teammates were not ready to play half-court defense. The Dominican Republic was in the middle of a transition. So he fouls in order to stop the fast break. Now Guilherme is coming in, and Anderson is getting his first rest in this game.
Guilherme Giovannoni, an excellent, excellent player. Carlos, he normally would have been a starter in this team. That tells you how deep the Brazilian team is as well. Splitter with a rebound. Huertas likes to run again. Barbosa. Oh, they're accusing Barbosa that he palmed the ball as well.
And
foul by Splitter,
yes,
offensive
sir.
foul.
He gets called for the offensive foul, trying to set the screen.
And here comes again Marcelinho Machado.
And Splitter gets his second foul.
So that's his second foul. Splitter still on the court. Varejao takes a breather.
And Orford is coming back for the Dominican Republic also with 2 fouls.
Varejao, Carlos, we've seen him play in that Marchand Cup, is an invaluable contributor to this team. And as we see Flores take the pump fake and score against Guilherme Giovannoni. Huertas to Leandrinho. Marcelinho to Splitter. Outside of Leandrinho Barbosa for the 3. To miss.
They still can't buy a basket from 3-point range.
Leandrinho underneath to Giovannoni, to Guilherme, and he makes a score. Again, points in the paint, boxing out, rotations. They're really testing the Dominicans.
And the reason why Guilherme is playing at the strong forward position in the 4th spot and Marcelinho came in the game is because they Coach Monsalve sees the zone by the Dominican Republic, and he has his best shooters right now on the floor trying to beat that zone.
He played in Italy for La Fortezza Bologna in the Italian league. 8 points per game in 34 games. Also played in the Euro Challenge for that team. Pass outside. 3-point shot by Leandrinho, and there's a foul.
That's the third foul
Thiago Splitter. Yes, indeed. That's his second. It's third, I'm sorry. Third foul.
Yeah, that's problems. That's real. I think that's most trouble for Brazil. Definitely. Varejao is back in the game, but I think that substitution was a minute too late.
Yep. On a rebound, really trying to get position when the Dominican had the position already. Varejao is back, and Flores is once again the point guard. Tries to break them down off the dribble. Huertas won't let go. Horford. And scores over Varejao. Second time he does in this game.
Facing the basket in this case. Even though he got the ball in the low post, he faced the basket. He faked like he was going to drive, and he took the short jumper.
Brazil's up by 3. To the corner. Marcelinho Machado.
Great defensive rotation by the Dominican Republic.
And another offensive rebound. Back to Leandrinho. Marcelinho against the zone. Huertas, they break it down. Guilherme. Marcelinho Machado, he's dangerous. And he makes the 3-point shot.
And that's the first 3-pointer made by Brazil. After 9, and this is the 9th attempt.
Yes, indeed. And that gives them a 6-point lead. Almost 7 minutes to go in the first half.
Meanwhile, the Dominican Republic is 4 for 6 from 3-point range, and that has kept them in the game so far.
Flores with another one.
5 out of 7 for the Dominican Republic, and they are 3 points behind right now. So the duel is established. Brazil is trying to make good with their offensive rebounds, while the Dominican Republic is counting on the 3-point shots falling, and so far they have.
Barbosa with his 3. It's another miss. Leandrinho is now taking a lot of 3-point shots. Right now he's 4 for 10 overall. And 0 for 6 on 3-point shots. Flores again. It's a miss. Rebound by Machado. They run the court. Machado off the dribble to Guilherme. Huertas. Drives to Varejao.
Great rotation by Hartford.
Yeah, anticipating the pass. And he deflects the ball. And now Nevares and Siebel are going to talk. And it's going to be the Dominican Republic's ball.
They got together and they got it right.
Great shot by Machado. And here's Flores off the Horford pick. So Garcia's at the point now. Jack Michael Martinez against Guillermo, using his muscle. That is his shot.
Jack Michael Martinez.
He will use his body to try to make it, Carlos. He plays center, but he's an undersized center. But he can sure use his physique.
And he's a very good rebounder, especially an offensive rebounder.
Huertas, double team. Guillermo, strong hand to the hoop. It's a miss. Great rebound by Horford. Peña, full steam ahead. He's got Flores to his right. Picks up the dribble. Back to Flores. Francisco's asking for the ball. The Cisco kid. Lots of dribbling. Machado pokes his hand in. Flores finds Peña. He had falling asleep on the dribble. And the Dominican Republic is ahead 29-28 with 5 minutes to go. Julio Toro must be happy.
He must be, because his team, as we said before, didn't start the game very well. They were a little bit nervous at the beginning of the game. They were committing so many fouls. Brazil had the edge on the offensive boards and the dribble penetration. The three-point shot has kept them in the game, and now they are dominating with their defense, their zone defense. Brazil cannot score against that defense, and at the same time, Flores was able to beat the defensive pressure with a great one-on-one move, and then hitting Peña. Usually you don't think about Flores as a point guard that can beat the defense and then set off his teammate, but that's exactly what he's doing.
And three-point shooting continues to be a story in the opening half of this tilt between these teams. Carlos, in 4 World Championship qualifiers, the Dominican Republic has a overall record of 9 wins, 15 losses. In their homegrown qualifier in 2005, they ended up 4-4. They're coming here they really want to win their group, first of all, and then they obviously want to qualify, become one of the top 4 teams. But I don't think that's going to be enough for this team. They've set their sights very high. They've got the backing of their own government. Dr. Leonel Fernandez has spent quite a little bit of money. Depending on the account, it could be between 15 and 17 million pesos, Dominican pesos. That would be between $350 and $500,000 just to get this team together. And so far it shows. The bench for the Dominican is not a weakness so far.
No, they have a lot of depth, and they are using that depth because Peña has contributed off the bench. Jack Michael Martinez has contributed off the bench already. They have players that can hurt you in different ways, and they are showing that right now.
Varejao takes a feed from Alex Garcia. Double team. Looks for the contact. Back to Leandrinho, and there's a foul by offensive foul.
No, he called it travel violation on Leandrinho Barbosa, who is looking everywhere like saying, when did I travel? I just put the ball on the floor and went.
Alex on Flores. Garcia down below to Jack Michael. Michael's going to use his body here. Dribbles carefully. Double team. There's Varejao. No. Offensive foul by Jack Michael Martinez, and that would be his second.
And in this time, Jack Michael he kept his dribble like 3 or 4 dribbles before going to the basket, and that takes too much time. And the defense was able to react to that. They were able to double team him and get position to force that offensive foul.
Only the second team foul for the Dominicans in the quarter. 3 for Brazil. Great feed underneath, but great anticipation by Garcia. Looking for the fast break. A little trouble with the dribble there. Guillermo steps back. Garcia punishes.
Francisco Garcia.
He's in the zone.
The Dominican Republic burning from downtown. Great rebound. Offensive rebound blocked by Garcia. Huertas, a feed to Guillermo. He had a shot, passed it up to Machado. Yes, indeed.
And that's the second three-pointer of the game for the Brazilian team, and both of them are coming from the hands of Marcelinho Machado.
So Brazil is a point away. 32-31, the Dominican Republic in the lead. 3.5 to go in the first half. Garcia back to Horford, all alone. Miss. Varejao with a rebound. Rebounding. Brazil is a machine right now in this tournament. Machado, in and out. Put back. Varejao with a slap. Horford takes the ball. Garcia brings it up for the Dominican. Luis Flores sets up.
And trying to organize the attack, calling the offense, but now he's going to go one-on-one against Alex.
Garcia cuts. Back to Garcia. Long shot. Miss. Now comes Guilherme up front to Marcelinho Machado. Protects the ball. The rim blocks him. Great defense again by Garcia. Great defense. Flores gets, no, he palms the ball again, and it's the same referee, Fabio Facchini.
Right now, Facchini has an idea of how the game should be played that is very different to what the Brazilians and the Dominican think that how the game should be played in FIBA basketball, I think, because he's calling some things that they have never seen before.
Machado misses. Michael Martinez with the rebound. Kelvin Peña sets up. Again, the Dominican Republic in this first half, Carlos, has gone this far without a true point guard.
Yes,
for just hardly a few minutes of the game.
That's exactly right.
Peña to the rim. No passes. Straight to the basket, and it's another three-point shot. That gives the Dominican Republic a 4-point lead with 2 minutes to go in the half.
And 7 3-pointers already for Brazil, 7 out of 11.
Strong to the hoop, and there's a foul, and Garcia admits it very quickly. Francisco Garcia, Carlos, more than any other member of this team, got to the Dominican early, committed to spend the off-season to work by himself. And slowly but surely, he began to call the other NBA friends to tell them what it was like, how the effort was being organized, that this is a different effort in the past. They've made some changes. Dominican has.
They didn't waste time either. I mean, when he was there for 2 months, he was training by himself for almost 1 month, and then the rest of the time he has been with his teammates. And even though the coach arrived a little bit late, because as I said before, he was coaching in Puerto Rico, and he made it all the way to the finals and won the championship with Vaqueros de Bayamón. When Julio Toro got there, he saw a team, a cohesiveness that the Dominican Republic didn't used to show before.
Leandrinho is now in double figures. Marlon Martinez comes in and gives Al Horford a breather. Marlon Martinez again, in the past, Carlos, would have been a starter, maybe a sixth player for this team. He's filled out, of course. He gets the ball underneath against Varejao, trying to get Varejao to commit or give a foul. But Guilherme gets the rebound. Barbosa puts on the burners and stops. Followed by Flores and Garcia. Machado calls the play. Through the perimeter. Down below to Machado. In the crack. He misses. Ball in his hands. Fink.
Nice pass.
Guilherme. Yes, sir. He froze 3 Dominican defenders. And now there's a timeout called by the Dominican Republic as they tie the game at 35 with 1:25 left. We talked about Moncho Monsalve, Carlos, and how he's an iconoclast. He does things his way. He's ended up in Brazil, perhaps with the recommendation of Oscar Schmidt. Certainly he's got the bona fides to get this job. But what has he brought to this team? What have you seen? How's the offense different, and how's the defense different than it was before he took over?
Well, you already talked about how they play more inside, and they go from inside out. They do take the three-pointer if they are open, but mostly they are trying to get the ball to the big people, or they try to drive to the basket and play that inside-out game that in the past, the Brazilians will just come out of a pick and roll, or will come in the fast in a fast break situation, just launch three-pointers. Even though they have already tried a few in the first half, but it has been because of the design of the Dominican defense. They are 2 out of 12 from three-point range, and you were saying that in the games before this one, preparing for this tournament, they only shot 9 three-pointers per game. The other thing that he does is on the defensive end of the court. This is a much more accomplished defensive team because they are understanding the concepts of playing both sides, helping from the weak side, trapping the pick and roll, rotating, and helping each other. And they do have the big guys that can box out and only allow one shot to the opponent. So this is a very good defensive team, and they have other concepts on offense now that they have grasped that were brought by Mr. Monsalve. And he's a big asset to the Brazilian team, no doubt about it.
Back to the game, Luis Flores sets up a minute 20 to go in a tie game, 35 all. Brazil with a very short and tight rotation of players. Flores, great pick by Martinez, misses. Alex Garcia with the rebound, up front to Marcelinho Machado. To the corner, Guilherme. Pass to nowhere. He thought he read Alex Garcia's mind, but he was wrong.
That was kind of a weird play because he started driving to the baseline and then he made that pass to the wing on the same side that he was at.
We did see him hesitate. We had an open shot by the free throw line earlier. He ended up with a three from Marcelinho, but he's been a little hesitant. Jack Michael Martinez against Varejao. Varejao. There's a foul, I believe, by Marcelinho Machado, who came in at the end and slapped in the lead.
Yeah, they're calling the foul on Machado, but see, Jack Michael is taking so much time with 3 or 4 dribbles before he attempts. And right now, Brazil is counting on Anderson being able to handle Martinez one-on-one, which he's definitely capable of. But it will be a big advantage for Brazil if they will trap Jack Michael right away when he starts dribbling the ball like that. Because when Machado came, it was too late. That was when Jack Michael was already starting his move to the basket. But he took like 3 or 4 dribbles before he did that.
Jack Michael Martinez misses his first shot. Jack Michael Carlos is also well-traveled. He's played in a number of leagues along the Caribbean. He tried out for the Lakers at one point. He actually went to high school at Artesia High School in California, where he averaged 27 points and 18 rebounds in high school, and wanted to attend the University of Miami, but did not get the grades, the SAT entrance examination grades, that would allow him to play NCAA basketball. Passes to the corner, Marcelinho all alone. It's dangerous.
Marcelo Machado.
That's his third three-pointer of the game for Marcelinho Machado, who, as you know, came off the bench when Dominican Republic went to that zone.
Incredible, and he is now put him up by 2 with 19 seconds to go. Flores. Here comes Salas, el caballito, the little horse, Salas. Flores penetrates, misses, on the run.
And that was too early.
Huertas, back to Machado. He scans to Guilherme. Alex Garcia, very uncomfortable. And that's the end of the first half.
Machado had a good shot, a better shot a little bit earlier than making that extra pass. And Alex Garcia had to force it up because he only had 1 second to go in the first half.
But it's a great game, Carlos, between the two reputed best teams of the tournament, the Dominican Republic and Brazil. Brazil leads the Dominican now 38-36. Great zone defense has been one of the keys for the Dominican Republic, but sometimes if you leave Marcelinho Machado all alone, you'll pay.
And he has been the whole offense, the whole three-point offense for Brazil in this first half. He made 3 three-pointers.
As we take a look at the first half stats, Carlos, again, some of the keys here, obviously the three-point shooting by both teams. You would expect Brazil to be a great three-point shooting team. You don't necessarily think of the Dominican Republic as a great three-point shooting team. In the first half, that's been the story.
Well, the Dominican Republic has shot 7 out of 11, which is real good, 64%. And going back to what the Brazilians have been able to do, they were not able to make a three-pointer until Machado got in the game, and he made the three-pointers that Brazil has so far. Now Barbosa is leading them with 10 points, and Machado just came off the bench to score 9. On the other side of the coin, Garcia with 11 points, and Peña came off the bench to score 8. Flores playing a point guard / second guard position, scored also 8 points for his team.
The assist-to-turnover ratio is a stat that I love to keep track of, Carlos, in these tournaments. As a team, especially if you get to have 1 assist per turnover, you're having a pretty good tournament. The Brazilians actually have that: 10 assists, 9 turnovers so far as a team. Dominicans 6 assists, 11 turnovers.
That makes a big difference also. I think that the reason why Brazil, even though they didn't shoot as well as the Dominican Republic did, Brazil is leading at the end of the first half because of offensive rebounding and taking care of the ball while they were forcing the Dominican to throw the ball away sometimes.
Foul trouble, though, for both teams. Thiago Splitter for Brazil has 3 fouls, and Leandrinho Barbosa has 2. For the Dominican Republic, you've got a number of players, especially the interior players. Charlie Villanueva, Al Horford, Jack Michael Martinez, and even their starting point guard, Carlos Morban. We heard a lot about their backup point guard, Juan Coronado, who is fairly new to international competition, certainly at this level, at the senior men's level, Carlos. But so far, not one sighting of him yet.
Well, Coronado came into the game in the last 43 seconds of the first half, but he certainly wasn't a factor in the few seconds that he spent out there. And at the same time, you have to say that even though they have a lot, the Dominican Republic have a lot of players with 2 fouls. 2 fouls is all right at the end of the first half, especially if you keep the score close. And at the same time, if you think about it, Thiago Splitter having already 3 fouls and how important he is on this defensive end and offensive end for the Brazilian, I think that Brazil is more in foul trouble than the Dominican Republic right now.
Carlos, we have 2 groups here made up of 5 teams each. Brazil and the Dominican Republic are part of Group B alongside Argentina, Panama, which is a last-minute addition to this tournament, and Venezuela. I mean, those are some very tough teams. You can always excuse Panama because they really were brought into this team when Cuba decided within the last few weeks not to bring a representation to this tournament because, according to the Cuban Federation, the quality of play didn't justify them being in this tournament.
Right, and that's the reason why the Panamanians got the invitation. But guess what? They didn't bring a team up to the level of at least the talent level that they brought to this competition. It's not up to par. It's not up to what all the other teams have here. I would say before, about a week ago, I was saying that it might happen that the 10 teams had a genuine aspirations to be one of the 4 teams to qualify because they certainly had that talent. Well, I would take Panama out of that equation right now. I would say that Panama is the team most likely not to advance to the second round on that group. And but this is a very tough group where Venezuela, Argentina, Dominican Republic, and Brazil are certainly quality teams that can aspire to be one of the 4 teams and even to win the whole thing.
Group A is made up of the host Puerto Rico, the Virgin Islands, which lost the first game already to Uruguay, who's also a member of this group, and Mexico, of course, and a very improved Canadian team.
Yeah, Canada, this show last week when they were playing at the Renato Marchand Cup, that they're a team that you have to take into consideration when you are trying to think about the favorites in this tournament. They can also qualify. Puerto Rico is the host team. They have a lot of expectations from the public. They usually do well when they play here in the island. And you have to say that Uruguay certainly didn't surprise us because they won the first game, but they did beat the Virgin Islands very handily.
As we review some of the first half action, a great step away, fade away jump shot by Al Horford against Anderson Varejao. He had 2 of them in this first half, and what a great shot. Varejao has been a force in rebounds, whether he gets them himself or he taps them to a teammate. Varejao so far with 3 rebounds.
Machado making one of the 3 three-pointers that he made in the first half. He was the offense coming off the bench because the Dominican Republic was in a zone. That was a very good substitution by Monsalve. Then Flores with a very good individual play, beating Machado off the dribble, and then finding his teammate Peña underneath the basket at the very end.
Here's the other step away by Horford. We've seen that one before, haven't we? Flores with 3 assists and 3 turnovers, and Horford in limited minutes, 4 points, 2 for 3 from the field. And Machado, a super sub, now combining with Guilherme Giovannoni for an easy 2.
That was a very good pass by Marcelinho to Guilherme after getting an offensive rebound and faking so he could create the defense. That's exactly the same play that we saw before, where Flores gets inside and hits Peña. Then Alex Garcia on the fast break hitting Leandrinho Barbosa.
Only 6 points, fast break points from Brazil. The Dominican Republic without a fast break point, although certain points they have scored could have easily been considered fast break points. Brazil made a great transition, Carlos, but it's tough to get fast break points in FIBA competition.
Yeah, it's very tough for 2 situations. The first one is that they have Brazil, for instance, is a very good defensive team in transition because, as I said before, they not only run back on defense, they can even use the fouls to stop the fast break so that you will have to take the ball out of bounds and not attack the basket. But another thing that happens is there's a slight difference in terms of what is a fast break point in FIBA basketball. Sometimes when you go on a fast break situation, you stop in mid-transition and pass the ball to an open teammate for a three-point shot. They don't count that as a fast break point. Certainly in the NBA, we have been able to watch and call games in the NBA. They do tell that as a fast break point, and that's the reason why, although we saw some semi-transitions by Francisco Garcia, Luis Flores Peña, coming in the fast break and just applying the brakes and taking a three-pointer and making it, the Dominican Republic don't have a fast break point yet.
Coming up after this game at 6:30 Eastern, New York time, Carlos, we have another excellent game. In Group B, Venezuela will face Argentina, and our colleague Alan Obrador will be joining you. And then we'll be back at 9 o'clock Eastern, 9 o'clock New York time, with Mexico facing Puerto Rico. And the last time Mexico faced Puerto Rico 2 years ago in Las Vegas, in the opening game, they had a surprise for the Puerto Ricans.
They did beat Puerto Rico in that tournament, although they didn't finish in the top position. Puerto Rico ended up earning the bronze medal, but Puerto Rico didn't qualify for the Olympics either, because in that tournament, only 2 spots were in consideration to qualify for Las Vegas, and the U.S. won the gold medal, and Argentina, which came in second, won the second spot.
Mexico won that game 100-89, and it was a stunning result for Puerto Rico. Now, there are 24 teams, again, playing in the 2010 FIBA World Championships in Turkey starting on August 28th. We, of course, have the Olympic champion and the host as seeded teams already. They're already in. That's the United States and Turkey, respectively. But we've already had some of FIBA's regional tournaments, continental tournaments, finished. In Africa, Angola won the championship again. They're going to their 6th World Basketball Championship. The runner-up in Africa was Cote d'Ivoire, the Ivory Coast, and they're going to their 3rd World Basketball Championship. And Tunisia came up in 3rd place, and they're making their debut at the 2010 FIBA Championships in Turkey. In Asia also, we had, I guess, a bit of a surprise to some extent. Iran has a great team, and China had a couple of important players missing. Iran won the Asia Championship, and they will be making their World Basketball Championship debut in Turkey. And China came in as a runner-up, and Jordan came in 3rd. Jordan will be also making a debut. So there are already 4 teams making the World Basketball Championship debut. And then just a couple of days ago, really in the morning Eastern time, we had the final game between New Zealand and Australia for the 2 spots in the Oceania, FIBA Oceania region.
And New Zealand won that game, that second game, the first game of a series of only two games. The first game was won by the Aussies in Australia by 7-point difference. So New Zealand was forced to win by more than 7 in order to be the winner of that region, and they did that very well because they ended up beating Australia by 22 points when the second game was played in New Zealand.
And Carlos, that means that this tournament and the European tournament coming up, European Championships, will place 10 teams. The Americas will place 4, the Europeans will play 6. And then there's also 4 at-large berths that are granted by FIBA at their discretion. And they will be granted on December 13th at the end of this year. And it's an interesting proposition for a team like Argentina, which does not bring its best players here. It really has a few of their great players. Of course, they have a great depth of talent. But Argentina's in an interesting position. If it doesn't finish here in the top 4, they could still be invited as the so far #1 team in the world.
Yeah, they definitely will. I think that's a given. I mean, and I think that they're counting on that also. The Argentina Federation knows that there's a big chance, a very huge chance, that they will make it anyway, even if they don't finish in the top 4 here, that they will get one of those 4 invitations. 4 years ago or 3 years ago, when the tournament was played in Japan, Puerto Rico didn't qualify in the tournament in the Dominican Republic, but they ended up being invited by FIBA based on their history as a basketball powerhouse in this area.
So the Dominican Republic and Brazil open up their schedule here in FIBA basketball. Brazil will be playing tomorrow against Venezuela. The Dominican Republic will play against Panama. And then on Friday, Brazil will meet its rival, Argentina. And the Dominican Republic has a day off. Today we have two teams with a day off, the opening day, and they get the day off. One of them is Canada, who we're very anxious to see play at this level in this tournament. And the other one, Carlos, and I think is a good idea, is to give Panama as much of a chance to get ready for this tournament as they can. They give them a day off.
Yeah, probably that will work for them. But I can tell you that for Canada, it is not as good for a team to get the rest on the very first day. I mean, what are you resting for? You haven't played yet. Now, most teams like to have the rest right by the middle of the tournament. And if you have the rest on the first day, that means that you will be playing. There will be one day when no team plays. There will be a rest day on Monday, next Monday. But the rest of the tournament, you will have to play every single day. So that's a situation where Canada and Panama are right now. The Puerto Rican team is as I said before, there's a lot of expectation put on their shoulders. They definitely have the team. They have a very good, talented team. They did very well last week when they finished second in the Turo Marchand Cup, being able to beat Argentina and Canada. But as we said before, there are top teams here. Venezuela is a very good team. Argentina is also a very good team. So this is going to be a very interesting thing. And I think that the rest day will make a difference for some teams.
Ready for the second half. And remember, this tournament is being held in Puerto Rico because Mexico, which was the original host, was victim really of the swine flu epidemic at the time. They had to make a payment to secure the championship, and it really did not make any sense. At the time when they had to make that decision, Carlos, Mexico was in a very difficult spot. Nobody was traveling there. Nobody knew the extent of the scourge of this epidemic. And so no one could make any plans. As a matter of fact, I remember at the time the Mexican soccer team was supposed to host foreign clubs to play in Mexico, and every one of those foreign clubs said, no way, we're not going to Mexico. Under those conditions, Mexico, I think, did the smart thing and said, we really should not be hosting the tournament. And then it became a scramble to find an alternative site for this tournament.
Yeah, and Puerto Rico stepped up to the plate, so to speak, and they said, okay, we'll do it. We have the experience. We have run tournaments like this before. We have we have the knowledge on how to run it. We don't have the time because usually it takes more than a year or at least a year to be ready for a situation like this. And you guys are giving us this tournament 75 days before it is going to be played. But we'll take over, and they did, and they are doing a very good job so far.
Mayor Santini here in San Juan has invested a significant amount of money, not only supporting the tournament, Carlos, but actually updating and really remodeling this facility built in 1973 for the World Basketball Championships held the following year here in San Juan. Upwards of $600,000 invested in getting the place up to snuff, and they've done a good job. They've done a very good job in this tournament. And the second half begins. Brazil leads the Dominican Republic by 2 alongside Coach Carlos Morales, Amador Martin, Leandro Barbosa. Great interception. Great hands by Al Horford. Luis Flores over to Garcia. And he picks up where he left off. Incredible.
Francisco Garcia.
Kelvin Peña is now part of the starting 5 for the Dominican Republic in the second half.
He did well when he came off the bench in the first half, and now that's the reason why Julio Toro starts the second half with him. Like what we see
Alex Garcia
making a long two-pointer.
Yeah, lefty Alex Garcia, who got to play. He's played in Brazil, has also played in the NBA briefly with the Hornets and the San Antonio Spurs. Horford misses. Peña tries to get the rebound. There's Varejao, back in the hands of Flores. A miss. The ball again in the hands of Flores. Villanueva drives with his left hand. Opens up some room. Varejao gets the rebound.
Great move by Villanueva trying to go to the basket against Varejao, but then he didn't find the rim once he got to a good position.
He's missed his 2 shots so far. He's pointless right now. With the left hand, Thiago Splitter gets the foul, and that would be Al Horford's 3rd. Yes, indeed.
He's very difficult to guard once he gets in the paint, and he can go right or left with that semi-hook that he uses. And in this case,
Tercera falta
he
personal
didn't
del
score
número
with that
10,
hook,
Alfred
but he did get the foul by
Horford.
Horford. While we see Francisco Garcia hitting his fourth three-pointer of the game.
Thiago Splitter makes the shot. Splitter so far has 8 points. He makes this. And he hits again. He is now 3 for 6 from the line, 9 points, and 7 rebounds. Quietly, again, a very productive player.
Yeah, but his weakness is the free throw shooting, definitely. He's not that good as a free throw shooter, and he has shown it so far in this game.
Peña guarded by Huertas. Varejao almost strips the ball. Great fake by Villanueva. All the way to the hoop. Excellent move by Charlie Villanueva. And the Dominican is now down by 1.
And he gets his first 2 points of the game. He spent a lot of time on the bench in the first half because he had a quick 2 fouls.
Native of New York City, grew up there, ended up at the University of Connecticut. Varejao.
Nothing there.
Great defense. 6 for the shot. And here's a foul. He bailed him out. Villanueva bailed him out with his third, I believe. No?
Yes, sir. Yes, that's his third.
That is his third.
Tercera falta personal del número 13, Charlie
So now
Villanueva.
Horford and Villanueva, the center and the strong forward, both have 3 fouls for the Dominican Republic.
Can you say that they're making the transition into FIBA type officiating, Carlos? Is that part of it?
It could be. But again, maybe not to FIBA as such, but to the way that this referee calls the game. When I say about this referee, I'm referring to the Italian referee, Facchini, who has called most of the fouls in this game.
A strip, Barbosa. He misses on the fast break. Now they come the other way. Villanueva, strong to the hoop. He ran out of room, but he still made the shot.
Wow. He got underneath the basket, and he just came back to the left side with his left hand.
He ran out of room, Carlos.
Yes, sir, he did. As I said, he was underneath the basket. The only way to score was the way he did. He came back to the left side because he was being guarded by Varejao on the right side.
I'm sure Julio Toro's been working on that, right?
Yeah, right. That's, that's a special move by a special player.
Nice cut by Huertas, but he cannot finish. Villanueva dribbling, bringing the ball up court. Process over. Back to Garcia. Peña for the 3. And the Dominican Republic is up by 4.
And Peña hits his third three-pointer of the game. So 4 3-pointers by Martinez, by Garcia, I should say, and 3 3-pointers by Peña.
Varejao with a notion. No, now he takes a shot and misses. Horford takes the rebound. For Al, it's his 7th. He's got 4 points. Here comes Flores. The crossover. Great strip by Leandrinho Barbosa.
Not only quick on his feet, but also with his hands.
16 seconds in the possession. Flores steps back against Alex Garcia, better known as Alex. He looks at the clock. Here comes the pick. There's the shot by Flores, a miss. And Varejao gets another one.
And that wasn't a good offensive possession by the Dominican Republic there.
That is his 5th rebound. He's got 2 points. Huertas to Alex. Down again to Huertas. Looks for the pick from Thiago Splitter. Cannot feed him. Now Varejao feeds him. One dribble. And a foul by Horford. And that is his 4th.
And they call a technical foul on the Dominican Republic.
Yeah, on Julio Toro.
Cuarta falta personal del número 10, Alfred Horford.
And it was definitely a foul by Horford.
There was contact.
He's showing his hands up now, but he has his left hand down when Splitter was coming up with for the shot.
Hay sustitución por el equipo de República
So now
Dominicana.
Horford has to come out.
Jack Michael Martinez.
And Jack Michael Martinez,
Alfred
who has 2 fouls of his own, comes into the game. And now Francisco Garcia comes wrong and tells Julio Toro and everybody else on the bench, let's be cool, let's keep our heads. Thiago to the line. From Santa Catarina, where some of the great Brazilian talent comes from in the south. became a Spanish citizen in 2004 and has played for Tau Ceramica since 2003. 69% free throw shooter, as Barbosa now takes the technical foul. First shot, he makes it.
So Splitter went 1 for 2 from the line, and he keeps shooting 50% in this game. He's 4 out of 8. While Barbosa takes the 2 technical foul free throws. I mean the two free throws out of the technical fouls.
Barbosa will inbound. Brazil with both free throws is down 1 against the Dominican. Barbosa, great cut to the basket, great pass by Alex Garcia. Brazil is back in front.
Yeah, nice move. That was a very good executed offensive maneuver, half-court offense by the Brazilians.
Flores drives, fakes. Villanueva cuts to the basket. He's out of control, and he gets the foul from Splitter.
Wow, and that's the 4th foul on Splitter, too.
From Splitter. Let's see.
Yeah.
Yes, indeed. That's his 4th. We're going to get to know these teams, Carlos. By the end of the 4th quarter, we'll be seeing some regulars on the bench.
Yeah.
Perhaps.
And you know that foul the Splitter even things up, right? Horford just committed his 4th foul about a minute ago, and now Splitter commits his 4th foul also. Guilherme played in the first half as a strong forward. He usually can play the 4 and the 3. He's a small, strong forward, so to speak, not only in height but also in body weight. But he's a very good shooter, passer, and he has the experience. And the reason why he played strong forward in the first half was because the Dominican Republic was playing his own. Now he has to come in because Splitter got in foul trouble.
And usually an 84% free throw shooter with the Milwaukee Bucks last season. He now misses a shot. Tie game, 47 all, 5 minutes, 15 seconds to go.
And there's a zone again by the Dominican Republic.
And that was poison for Brazil last time in the first half. Another deflection and a steal. Garcia up ahead. Villanueva in traffic. And there's a foul by Huertas. A reach-in foul.
Yeah, he was coming from behind, and he could have gotten that steal if he would have gone slapping at the ball instead of coming down with his arm. And that's exactly what he did. He came down with his arm, and the referee penalized him with a foul.
That's his second. Flores off his leg. Huertas tries a fast break. Leandrinho Barbosa can't finish. Jack Michael Martinez coming the other way. Peña up ahead to Frank Garcia. Lines up for the 3. Chess. Another one by Francisco Garcia.
He is on fire. 5 out of 7 from 3-point range. 17 points for Garcia so far.
It's not just the 5 out of 7, Carlos. It's the distance from which he takes these shots.
Yes.
He doesn't even mind the line. He just takes 2 steps back and shoots. Half a hook shot. Guilherme misses on the very tentative under the basket. Flores strong. Takes Guilherme right under the basket and makes it.
And this definitely is the best moment of the game for the Dominican Republic. They are playing good defense on one end, and they are converting their offensive possessions on the other end.
5-point lead. It's their biggest lead so far. Varejao steps in against the zone. Great move by Anderson Varejao. He cuts the lead now to 3. Varejao now has scored 4 points in this game. Half-court offense execution by the Dominican. Villanueva opens up with his offhand and makes a shot. A right-handed hook against Varejao.
He took him to the basket with his left, and then he turned and took that hook shot going to his right.
He's been lucky he hasn't been called for more offensive fouls for that offhand, though. He's been called for 1 so far. Huertas drives, right-handed. Great shot pass. Varejao cannot finish. Up ahead to Flores. Flores drives hard to the basket, and he gets the foul from Alex. And Flores, Carlos, is just a menace now on the fast break.
Yeah, he's attacking the basket. That's what he does very well, especially in fast break situations when the defense is not established yet. He can take advantage of that situation, attack hard, and get fouled.
Villanueva, a three, and a miss. Barbosa comes the other way real fast. Ali, and an oop for Anderson Varejao. Sloppy defensive transition for the Dominican. Garcia to Villanueva. Villanueva squares up against the basket, drives left-handed, shoots right-handed, and makes it. He's feeling it right now.
And he's killing Varejao right now in isolation situations.
Another deflection by Garcia, and as he lands right near the Brazil bench. And that is also a trademark of Francisco Garcia.
He's a hustler. He definitely is. Franklin Weston, the veteran, he's coming into the game. Instant offense. They call him El Fantasma, the ghost, here in the Puerto Rican League. He plays for professionally for the Vaqueros de Bayamón.
The champion.
And he's always hanging around the basket and making shots when nobody expects him to do it. That's the reason why they call him the ghost.
You'll be hearing a lot of nicknames in our coverage. Look at Alex, left-handed, and he makes the three
Alex
right
Garcia.
in front of Charlie Villanueva. And Brazil now is down 2 against the Dominican with 2 minutes to go in the third. Jack Michael Martinez, he has a physical advantage against Guilherme Giovannoni. He dribbles and dribbles and dribbles and dribbles and dribbles. Here comes a double team, a little late, and there's the Phantom striking again.
Exactly. Right on cue, right?
The Shadow knows his first 2. And again, here's a guy, Carlos, who may have been a starter, maybe 6th man, and now he's part of the rotation, but not one of the first guys off the bench.
He didn't play in the first half. He's just coming in the game with a minute and 45 seconds to
Alex
go in the
with
third
that
quarter.
very, very unorthodox shooting mechanic. And he makes a 3, and Julio Toro looks on in disgust. The Dominican Republic hangs on to a 1-point lead. Garcia against Barbosa. He lines up for a 3, and a miss. Guilherme with the rebound, up ahead to Garcia. Garcia won't wait for anybody. To the outside, Huertas comes close. Back out to Barbosa. He misses. And in the fight for that rebound, Western takes the ball after Jack Michael Martinez fought for it against Varejao.
And Huertas is doing his job. He's driving to the basket and finding people open, but most of the time the Brazilians are not scoring, and that's Villanueva from long range.
And another 3.
He didn't score in the first half, and he's taking over this game in the third quarter. Already got 12 points.
Guilherme back to Landinho underneath to Varejao. He had the shot. Now decides to move in closer. Takes a hook shot and misses. They just can't seem to finish now. Now they're looking for the last play. 15 seconds to go. They're up by 4. Francisco Garcia at the point.
They're going to run pick and roll between Jack Michael Martinez and Francisco Garcia.
Back to Jack Michael. He lines up for the shot.
Oh, my goodness.
Off key. I mean, not even close. And that's the end of the third quarter.
UFO.
A good quarter for the Dominican Republic. They are now up by 4. And the story of the quarter, among many, would have to be Charlie Villanueva with 12 points, making 4 of 6 shots, and 5 of 8 shots, I should say. 1 of 2 from three-point land. And Brazil now comes into the fourth quarter with a 4-point deficit. And Carlos, you have to admit, so far, the decision to use Luis Flores as a point guard is paying off. Andres Nocioni is one of those players, Carlos, who's going to be watching this tournament with great interest. Of course, he's been coming off an injury
He's operated his knee. He's got tendonitis in the knee, according to some Argentinian journalists. He is not even 100% recovered, so he really couldn't play even if he wanted to. And apparently he does want to play in this tournament. He really absolutely wanted to play. Manu Ginobili obviously has been told by the San Antonio Spurs that he will not play in this tournament no matter what. And Manu needs every rest he can get, coming off 2 ankle injuries, 1 to each ankle. As a matter of fact, I believe that around this time he's flying back from Bahia Blanca in Buenos Aires, Argentina, back to San Antonio to begin training with the team and begin the full process of recovery. That's going to be an interesting team in the American NBA, Carlos, as the San Antonio Spurs have loaded up with talent, but their 2 top players are going to be under medical watch the entire season.
Yeah, that's going to be a big issue for them. And speaking about our Argentinian players that are not here, Fabrizio Berto is not here either. He doesn't belong to the San Antonio Spurs anymore.
He's coming off some heart murmurs, and he hasn't been cleared medically to play yet, although he has signed a 1-year deal with the Washington Wizards of the American NBA. Garcia, tough to the basket. Oh, and Villanueva makes a shot, but Garcia's hurt. I believe that Jack-Michael Martinez stepped on him. He now gets up from the floor gingerly, and he walks away.
So with that offensive rebound by Villanueva, the Dominican Republic has a 6 points advantage. Largest lead of the game for them.
Garcia is grimacing with pain, and now he's got a guard. There you go. Here he falls against Varejao, and here's where he gets stepped on by Jack-Michael Martinez, and that's a heavy load. And then Villanueva puts the trash in the basket. Garcia has to guard Barbosa. 9.5 to go in the 4th. Alex Garcia. Yes, sir. Alex Garcia.
2 in a row for him. At the end of the 3rd quarter, he hit a 3-pointer from the corner on that left side. Now a little bit more towards the wing.
And somehow, Carlos, he's getting open shots. I mean, at this point, they have to rewrite that scouting report.
Well, they're giving him the shot because they are trying to take away the shot from Barbosa. And now he runs in the fast break. Barbosa finds him with the long pass. 2 more points for Brazil, and Julio Toro wants to stop this run by the Brazilian.
He wants to talk it over. The Dominican Republic is up by a point. Alex Garcia, known as Alex in all of Brazil, with that crafty left-handed 3-point shot, and then the drive on the fast break. Great pass by Leandrinho Barbosa. Just 1 bounce, and there's no way that Luis Flores can guard these 2. So Brazil is now a point away from tying this game.
And the Dominican Republic has to be very careful with the type of shot that they take. We talk about feeding their opponent's fast break by either throwing the ball away or taking long shots that will get to the hands of the defensive players quicker, and then you always see a Brazilian that runs to half court or keeps running towards the basket, like in the case of Alex Garcia in that last play. And the Brazilians are very opportunistic. They can run when they see the opportunity to run, and they have had a couple of fast breaks in this second half after bad shots by the Dominican.
This game has been defined early, Carlos, by foul trouble in both teams. As we approach the last 9 minutes of the game, you wonder when and for how long are these 2 coaches going to take a chance to bring out their stars. In the case of Brazil, you've got Thiago Splitter with 4 fouls. In the case of the Dominican Republic, Julio Toro has to figure out how to use Al Horford with 4 fouls, and Charlie Villanueva is still on the court with 3. Monsalve and Facchini have another small conference, but at least no warning has been issued.
In this case.
Yeah. Back to action. Luis Flores brings the ball up the court against Alex Garcia. Here comes a blind screen by Villanueva. Franklin Western to Garcia. Off the screens, Flores tries to feed Villanueva. Overguarded by Varejao. No alley-oop there. Varejao doing some great defense so far. But here comes Villanueva to miss. And he touches the scoreboard in the backboard, so it's Brazilian ball. Guilherme will inbound. And the pressure from Francisco Garcia to Leandrinho Barbosa is full court. Barbosa tries to drive.
And that's very good pressure by Francisco Garcia on Barbosa.
Cisco, that's how they know him, among many nicknames, especially with the Sacramento Kings. He was a starter this year. Oh, great interception by Flores. He read Leandrinho all the way, and Flores goes right to the hoop. Yes, sir.
Great move by Flores. Great anticipation on the defensive end, and he completed the play on the offensive end.
Flores.
Garcia wanted to stop him, but without fouling him, and that was quite difficult.
It's a different Luis Flores than who we saw in 2005. This Luis Flores is driving to the hoop, getting in the paint. Varejao squares his shoulders, again in and out for him, and the ball belongs to Brazil after Jack Michael Martinez and Charlie Villanueva fight for it.
Yeah, they didn't communicate between each other, and they were fighting for the ball.
Hay sustitución por el equipo de Brasil entre el número 9, Marcelo
Flores on the fast break. See how Alex Garcia wants to stop him, but
Barbosa.
without fouling him, and that's very difficult to do because he has the momentum going towards the basket.
And Leandrinho got hit in the face by his teammate Anderson Varejao. Alex, strong to the hoop. And it's a Dominican foul, and I believe it's Villanueva. Yes, sir. Villanueva now with his fourth, or is it his third?
Cuarta falta personal del número 13, Charlie Villanueva.
Decision time for Julio Toro because Villanueva, as we said before, has been carrying the offensive load in the second half.
Well, guess what? He's bringing in Al Horford, so a four-foul player in for a four-foul player.
Yeah, with 8 minutes to go in the game, he feels that it's more important to give Charlie Villanueva a rest and to protect him against committing his 5th foul. So Horford is coming back with 4 fouls. The Brazilians are not using Thiago Splitter yet. He also committed his 4th foul in the 3rd quarter.
Alex Ribeiro Garcia, last year for Universo, ended up shooting 75% from the free throw line. Universo made it to the finals this year in the Brazilian League.
2 years ago, Garcia played for Maccabi Tel Aviv in the EuroLeague.
World-class player, among many in this tournament. Jack Michael Martinez, a fake. The ball's loose. Huertas. He's got Alex on the right side. There goes Alex Garcia.
Whoa.
And that's a goaltend.
Yeah, the ball has touched the backboard before Horford make contact with it. That's the reason why the goaltending is called. But that was quite a leap.
Yes, sir. The leap wanted to make sure that that the ball was basically, we're going to have only, there was no arc on that shot. It was basically a drop off after it left his hands. Francisco Garcia, a miss.
So Brazil back in the lead by 1. And now Huertas is asking his teammates for patience. They want to play their half-court game.
And Carlos, they're doing a great job on rebounding right now, the Brazilians, especially the box outs. Huertas, double team. Guilherme has the shot.
He can't do that, but he misses.
He misses. He is not himself today. 4 points. He's 2 for 5. Horford down below, and there's a foul by Guilherme Giovannoni.
Great position by Horford in the fast break. That's exactly what a big guy should do when running a fast break.
And that's what everybody should do. Guilherme, who fouled Horford, comes over, offers his hand, and helps to bring him back up.
Don't tell that to Pat Riley.
Primera falta personal.
Well, Pat Riley may know a lot of basketball, but he doesn't know a lot of sportsmanship.
Right.
You should definitely do what this young man does from Brazil.
Now Horford ran the court, and he just established position in front of the rim. That's the way that a big guy should run the court. Try to get that position and wait for his teammate to see him and get him the ball. And that the point guard did very well. So Horford got the foul from Guilherme, and now he makes good on the first one.
Horford, Carlos, has become one of the quiet leaders, not only of this team, but also of the Atlanta Hawks, who now have had some interesting playoff runs the last couple of seasons. Now he misses the free throws. Horford, 72% free throw shooter. Alex up to Varejao. Oh, intercepted by Franklin Western. He takes a strong to the hoop, misses. You know, one thing about Franklin, Carlos, he has to look, he has to watch his dribble. He couldn't take his eyes off the dribble. He had no idea who was coming and when.
And that takes a couple of seconds away from his fast break ability also. Maybe not maybe a couple of seconds, but maybe a second, and that makes a big difference.
Jack Michael with a notion for a three. Rebounded by Splitter. Now we have the answer. When is Splitter going to come in? Well, halfway through, or just over 4 minutes gone by from the fourth. 6 minutes to go. Alex Garcia.
Watch the pick and roll between Thiago and Huertas now.
Huertas. Crossover to Alex. Now he's being guarded a lot closer. What a fake, but he misses. Francisco Garcia with the ball. Jack Michael Martinez outside to Franklin Western. In and out. Huertas touches the ball. So does Varejao, but it's in the hands of Flores with a great screen by Jack Michael Martinez. And in the force out, there's a foul by Al Horford, and that will be it.
Yeah, he's fouling out of the game.
Al Horford fouled out.
With 5 minutes, 33 seconds to go in the game.
Falta personal del número 10, Alfred Horford.
Great box out, though. Varejao did a very good job boxing him out, and that's the reason why Horford got called for a foul when there was contact. Now, Flores made a very good play, more of a hustle and effort play, getting that rebound, that loose ball away from Varejao.
Hay sustitución por el equipo de la República Dominicana entre el número 6
the Dominicans
Peña.
I think they were going small for a minute.
Sale el número 13.
Yep. And now Julio Toro wanted to bring in Villanueva. Hold on. The Canadian referee Siebel is saying to add or take away 2 seconds.
Take away 2 seconds because he saw that the ball was in play and the clock wasn't running.
So I'm not sure if he wanted Villanueva in now or later, Carlos. But Villanueva just didn't get in now. Now he's going to be brought in.
By rule, whenever a referee stops action, you can make substitution. That's a dead ball situation. So that's the reason why Villanueva was able to come in the game.
Sale el número 12, Franklin Western.
So Thiago Splitter has a height advantage against Jack Michael Martinez in the low post. Huertas against Garcia. Marcelinho Machado down to Splitter. A little bit of room to operate. Peña comes close. Here comes the elbow.
Oh, nice up and under.
Up and under against Jack Michael Martinez. So it's not the height that matters, I guess. It's the dribble and the low post move.
Right. Exactly.
Villanueva, the lefty. Ooh, heavy traffic, and it's an offensive foul by Villanueva, and that will be his 5th. And Facchini doesn't like the reaction from the Dominican bench. Offensive foul.
Quinta falta personal del número 13, Charlie Villanueva.
Carlos. So now we have the Dominican Republic with 2 of their top players and 2 of their low post players out.
Yeah, and they already have Jack Michael Martinez that had to come in because Horford fouled out. Now the decision time is whether to bring back Marlon Martinez, to bring back the other big guy,
Alejandro Salas,
or play with a smaller squad where Franklin Western plays the 4th spot, and then they have more offensive players. Let's see what Julio Toro does when he comes out of this timeout.
Well, you know Julio Toro. What do you think is his tendency to go small at this point? They're down by 2.
Well, I'll tell you what. If Guilherme was on the court with the Brazilians, he would go small. But right now, he doesn't have a guy that can go small and play the 4th spot and match up with either Splitter or Anderson. So I guess he's going to go with a big guy.
For Julio Toro, Carlos, a very interesting opportunity here. He was the head coach of the Puerto Rican national team. His right-hand man, his assistant, Manolo Cintron, took over. There was a sense that Julio Toro had done basically all he could with the national team. There was a sense that perhaps it was time to let others take over. But you know Julio Toro, and Julio Toro was born to coach, and as long as he's got his health, he will coach. And when the Dominican Republic presented the opportunity, you have to think that Julio Toro must have thought, after he saw the plan and the backing and the budgets, he said, well, this is the chance to have, this is maybe the closest thing I have to an NBA team.
Well, he has 3 NBA players and 1 former NBA player. So, yeah, this is NBA type of talent on that team.
He is 66 years old. And when you listen to him speak Spanish or English, it's a trip. He speaks in parables. You have to really know Julio Toro to truly understand them. I wonder how the Dominican players have taken to him, especially since day one. Splitter to the basket. Great feed by Huerta. Peña to Jack Michael Martinez. To Flores. Intercepted by Splitter. It's a steal. Up ahead to Alex Garcia. Crossover. Back to Alex. Great fast break by Brazil. Brazil is now up by 6 with 4 and 10 seconds to go.
They're going through their best moment without a doubt. The Brazilians are. And this is a very good time to have their best moment.
Peña to Franklin Western. Dribbles over to Jack Michael Martinez. Drives to the dribble. Back to Franklin Western. Misses the shot. Thiago Splitter with another great rebound. Huertas sets up the half-court offense.
And you know what? Coming out of the timeout, I said that maybe Julio was going to go with 2 big guys because Brazil had 2 big guys on the court, and it was very difficult for Western to match up with either Thiago or Anderson. I was wrong. He went with the offensive group with Franklin playing the 4th spot, but Franklin has not been able to score.
Oh, great feed by the bigs. In the last second, Anderson Varejão finishes for Brazil. What a baseline cut by Anderson Varejão, and what a pass by Thiago Splitter. Double team for Flores over to Garcia. He's got Machado guarding him. Comes in to the paint. Misses. Great flash, defensive flash by Anderson Varejão.
And bad timing for the Dominican Republic to go on a cold spell.
Yeah, 3 minutes to go. They're down 8. Behind the back dribble by Huertas. Splitter. Huertas over to Splitter. No, Jack Michael Martinez gets in the way, but he steps on the line. The ball's going back to Brazil with 5 seconds in the possession, or is it going to be 24? It'll be 5.
Hay sustitución por el equipo de Brasil entre el número 10, Leonardo Barbosa.
Leonardo Barbosa is in, and so is Marlon Martinez.
Por República Dominicana entre el número 8,
Kelvin
Marlon
Peña
Martínez.
goes out.
Sale el número 6, Kelvin Peña.
So now Garcia, Francisco Garcia, and Luis Flores are the only ball handlers for the Dominican.
Yeah, Western's played the 3 spot now, and they have 2 big guys.
Oh, what a fake by Splitter, but he misses. Jack Michael Martinez with the rebound. He's got 8. Flores in big man land misses the ball in the hands of Huertas. Way up front to Marcelinho Machado, and Brazil. He's blocked by Garcia, but nobody followed up.
Yeah, and Garcia
hustled, but nobody else did.
Exactly.
Luis Flores was the one who had to follow up.
He's mad. He's mad because he said, well, I did my part. Where are you guys?
A superb effort today by Francisco Garcia. He launches a 3. Ooh, way off. The ball back in the hands of Franklin Western. Double team.
Great defense by the Brazilians right now.
And they're playing with everything.
As
all 4 extremities.
As I said before, they are playing their best basketball right at crunch time. When the game was supposed to be decided, is when the Brazilians were playing their best basketball.
And Carlos, they may not be playing a true zone here, but they're making every passing lane an adventure for the Dominican Republic.
Yeah, they're really clogging the paint and making the Dominican Republic beat them from outside. And the Dominican Republic were shooting very well at the beginning of the game, but guess what? Right now they're taking open shots from outside and they're not hitting. And there's this fast break where Francisco Garcia was able to block Marcelinho's layup attempt, but Barbosa was right there for the 2 points on the offensive rebound because the rest of the Dominican players didn't run back.
You can name Flores, who showed up on the picture, but nobody else did, really. As we look at their 3-point shooting, the Dominican Republic's 3-point shooting has come down.
Yeah, 11 out of 23.
In the second half.
Brazil is shooting better, 6 of 19.
Carlos, you can certainly say that I think the Dominican Republic has learned, especially their big men, especially their NBA big men, have learned a lesson in this game. Whether they win or lose at this point, they've learned a lesson on the perils of refereeing. in these tournaments when you don't know the referees.
You have two players like Horford and Villanueva fouling out. I mean, they're center and strong forward. And even though Thiago Splitter got in foul trouble in this game, he has been able to, I think he will be able to finish the game unless he commit a foul in the last 2 minutes. But he has been the one out there on the court when the game was going to be decided. Also, Anderson Varejao is a very experienced international player.
So Brazil is up 10. That's their big lead, biggest lead in the game. And Francisco Garcia will inbound. Great slap out by Barbosa back to the Dominican.
He was anticipating that move, and he knew Francisco Garcia was coming off the screen to get the ball back and try to take the three-pointer. Barbosa put a hand on the ball.
There's Varejao with a double team on the point guard. Great feed to Marlon Martinez, but it's a block by Varejao, and it comes off Jack Michael Martinez. Brazil will get the ball. And again, Varejao, Carlos, you cannot underestimate the activity and the energy he puts forth on the defensive end. Barbosa, the Splitter. Dribble handoff to Huertas. What a screen by Splitter. Huertas, real uncomfortable. Misses in the rebound in the hands of Martinez. Up ahead to Flores. Turns. Nice feed. Great block, but foul by Anderson Varejao, and that will be his first. Surprising that Varejao hasn't had fouls here.
He's doing a very good job. He has played very good defense while staying out of foul trouble. That's amazing what he's able to do. It was a very good pass by Flores. Marlon Martinez was running the middle lane, and he got that ball, and even though he couldn't finish the play because he got the shot block, he also got the foul from Varejao.
As a team, the Dominican Republic has made only 4 of 9 free throws. And when you have, obviously, games like these, it becomes a factor. He makes the second. It's an 8-point lead for Brazil with 1:20 to go. Splitter over to Barbosa. Leandrinho guarded by Franklin Western. Here comes Marcelinho Huertas. Barbosa, double team, a floater, back to Varejao, 6 for the shot. Splitter, up and under again. No, he drives, shoots, hits the rim, and the putback by Varejao. They never quit.
That was a heads-up play by Thiago Splitter, just to put the ball up and make sure to get the rim so Varejao could get the ball back and get the 2 points.
Another great defensive move by Brazil, but Marcelinho Machado loses the ball, and it's back in the Dominican Republic's hand, but there's only 44 seconds to go, and it's a 10-point game. Flores drives. Blocked by Machado.
Again, great help side defense by the Brazilians. He was able to split the double team and get in the paint, but once he got there, Machado came from the weak side, and he was the one that was able to put a hand on the ball.
33 seconds to go in the game. Jack Michael Martinez steps in, back to Flores, guarded by Splitter. Not the matchup he wants, over Splitter. Not even the rim. So now Brazil has no rush.
So I guess we will have a winner in this game, but remember, point difference also
matters.
Goal average is a very important factor here. So they're going to play they're going to take the last shot and try to make that last shot.
What a shot by Leandrinho Barbosa. Gives him a 13-point lead. And as you mentioned, goal difference may matter.
And the Dominican Republic is also going to try to get a good shot and make it, I believe. No, they're not. They still don't understand international basketball.
They don't. And that's the end of the game. Brazil beats the Dominican Republic 81-68. A tremendous performance by the Brazilians on defense. And a great performance, Carlos, also by the Brazilians on the boards. They beat them on the boards 45-37, and they beat them on